So today's focus is going to be on fossil evidence, and we're going to be looking at records in history in the earth that allow us to actually see evolution that's occurred over time or in the past. However, before we do that, we do want to finish up a little bit about our discussion on speciation and some of the mechanisms that allow speciation to occur. Now, when we spoke about mechanisms, these were forms of reproductive isolations, ways to separate one species in order for them to not be able to reach each other, either physically or physiologically, in order to actually reproduce. So some of the terms that we had were prezygotic and postzygotic. Prezygotic meant before fertilization, and postzygotic meant after fertilization. When you've already, this is going to be while you just have your gametes. This is going to be when you already have your gametes joined together. So just remembering that fertilization is the joining or the union of your gametes, your sperm and egg. So ecologically, this means this type of prezygotic measure doesn't allow them to encounter each other in the habitat. So maybe they just live in different areas. Behavioral adaptations or behavioral isolation would mean that they don't associate or recognize each other. They might not know they're the same species, or maybe their camouflage doesn't allow them to find each other. Temporal means the time of the mating that's going to occur. For example, flowers. Some flowers produce sperm and actually spread the sperm at different times. For some animals, they might come out and mate at different times, even though they're the same species. Mechanical, this literally means that sometimes the parts just don't fit, okay? And this can work for a plant or an animal, but for one reason or another, such as when you think about animals and flowers, and the fact that we can have these pollinators, sometimes due to the pollinators, we might not have a certain breed of a species being able to mate with each other. And then when you have gamete fusion, this is the idea that the male gamete can't survive in the environment of the female. So this is, can the sperm reach where the egg is? Is there going to be a reason why the sperm can't get to the egg or can't fuse with the egg because of the environment? Sometimes this is actually an example of how human infertility can happen. Sometimes the male sperm can't survive the vagina and reach the egg in the uterus because of the pH there. In post-zygotic reproductive isolation, one of the first terms we had was zygote mortality, and this just simply means that we're going to fail to develop or dies before reproductive maturity. We also have hybrid sterility. Hybrid sterility is when your zygote, or the organism that develops from your zygote, is sterile or unable to reproduce. An example of this would be the horse and the donkey mating and producing a mule. The mule is unable to be reproductive. And then we have polyploidy. Polyploidy is when you have the wrong number of chromosomes due to non-disjunction. Same idea as what happens in people that are affected by Down syndrome.